Pardon me. Okay, so let's go through the question. The question reads, TechLife Retail Limited is a fast-growing e-commerce company in Nigeria, specializing in the sale of consumer electronics. The company operates a fully digital platform with online payment integration, automated inventory management system, customer analytics, and a CRM system. TechLife has recently undergone a significant digital transformation, integrating robotic process automation in their financial reporting process and using algorithms to set dynamic pricing on this platform. The company engaged Okpara and Associates Chartered Accountants to perform an audit for the year ended 31st December 2024. During the audit, the team encountered several IT issues. Cybersecurity controls. The company experienced a minor data breach in October 2024, though no major customer data was lost. Auditors are concerned about the adequacy of cybersecurity controls. Algorithm review. Auditors found that the pricing algorithm lacked a documented control framework. There were inconsistencies in pricing during promotional periods. Use of robotic process automation. TechLife has deployed bots for bank reconciliations and revenue postings. However, change logs and exception reporting for the bots were not adequately maintained. Data privacy compliance. The auditors noted that TechLife collects and stores customer data, but has no documented data protection policy in line with the Nigerian Data Protection Regulation, NDPR, required. This is what I wanted to see. I was busy reading answers. Required. What is the role of cybersecurity in audit engagements, and how should the audit team respond to the data breach experienced by TechLife Retail Limited? 5 marks. Explain the importance of reviewing algorithms in business audits and identify concerns with TechLife's pricing model. 3 marks. Discuss how robotic process automation can affect audit procedures and identify what issues the auditors should raise regarding TechLife's RPA usage. 4 marks. And D, not A now. What audit procedures should be carried out to assess TechLife's compliance with data protection regulations such as NDPR? Okay, so another 15-mark question before us, ladies and gentlemen. The question actually addresses advanced contemporary issues in auditing, and we are well aware of this. These are very, very recent areas and current issues we face in the office, issues around and controls related to a highly digital e-commerce business environment, including cybersecurity, algorithms, robotic process automation, and data privacy compliance. Very practical question. And you observe the IT audit focus around this question, which is a pure test of IT general controls and also application controls within a modern digital business. The question also reflects the increasing need for auditors to understand technology-driven financial reporting. This is very important. Then also another observation around key risks, speaking to the scenario, highlighting major risk and current risks we talk about these days, the cybersecurity risk in the area of data breach or data breaches, and also application control risks, talking about undocumented algorithms. Another risk is around process automation risks, speaking to poorly controlled robotic process automations, and also regulatory risk around NDPR compliance, which is very, very contemporary, Nigerian Data Protection Regulation compliance. So good question, very practical and recent. The solution I was reading earlier effectively translates IT failures into audit and financial reporting risks. So it correctly links the cybersecurity issues to the integrity of financial data and provides practical modern audit procedures for RPA and NDPR compliance. Very, very important. Good solution and very short, provides clarity. Part A, what to write and how do we write our answers? Very briefly, for the part A, we have 5 marks, and our prompt was to provide the role of cybersecurity and how the team should respond to data breaches experienced by this company. So how do we write that? Sorry, let's start with what to write. So the role of auditors is to ensure the confidentiality, number one, the integrity and the availability of financial data. We could use that acronym: confidentiality, integrity, and availability, CIA, of financial data. Not certified internal auditors exam now by the IIA, CIA, confidentiality, integrity, and availability of financial data, which is fundamental to the audit. You see that the response must, your response must be proactive. You need to assess the risk of material misstatement from the breach, for example, the loss of source data, and also recommend stronger IT general controls around access controls, around monitoring controls. That's what you should write on. And how do you write it? You need to start with the definition of cybersecurity's role in the audit context. And the solution is clear on that. Then provide specific audit procedure or procedures to follow up on the actual breach, and system recommendations to prevent future issues. So that's how to write. And the solution provides very clear thoughts on that. And for the B part, the prompt is explain the importance of reviewing algorithms in business audits and identify concerns with TechLife's pricing model. Okay. So the importance of reviewing algorithm and concern is just 3 marks. So what do we write? Algorithms like the pricing models are essentially automated application controls, and their review is important to ensure accuracy, consistency, and compliance. Accuracy, consistency, and compliance. So for example, proper revenue recognition. The concern is that the lack of documentation means the auditor cannot verify the accuracy and completeness of the revenue figure. Yes, please. Grace's hand is just flashed. Yes, please. Grace, go ahead. Nice.
Sir, please, what is algorithm?
Oh, fantastic question. All right. So an algorithm is a robot that provides clarity and depicts what data is given to a system. So it's a process or set of rules. So it's a process or set of rules. Let me use clear language now so I don't get you confused. Okay, so yes, it's a process or set of rules to be followed in calculations or other problem-solving operations, especially by a computer. So now let's get back to practicals, because that's just a definition. An algorithm is a data tracking system in which an individual's internet search history and browsing habits are used to present them with similar or related material on social media or other platforms. So that's an algorithm. So for example, I do YouTube. I'm a YouTuber. If you frequently come to my YouTube page, the algorithm will start giving you my content. It will start presenting my content to you. So it's actually a data tracking system in which an individual's continuous habitual followership of a particular data keeps being presented to that same person. So let's come back to this question now. In this question, if you ask what the algorithm does, or what is the algorithm in this question, the algorithm provides data around revenue and helping to reduce human efforts by doing what human beings should be doing. And that is why we said around the revenue recognition, the algorithm is like the pricing model. So it's automated to review for accuracy, for consistency, and for compliance. So like revenue now, instead of humans to go ahead to recognize revenue, the algorithm does that. So it's more of a machine or a data tracking system that helps to do what humans are supposed to be doing. So there are algorithms for contents. If you browse Facebook very well and you particularly gravitate towards a content, the algorithm will begin to bring you that content to say, okay, if you like following Josiah Gabriel, you'll just be seeing Josiah Gabriel on your page, on your page, on your page. That's the algorithm. That's the work of the algorithm. So for this context or this case, the algorithm, when revenue is posted on the system, algorithm will just take it. If they say credit revenue and debit customer, it will just do that by itself without any human interference. So that's what an algorithm is. I hope I was able to provide some clarity on that.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. And if anybody else has, please, a clearer view of it, please go ahead and share. That's the little I can say about algorithms. And I wouldn't have known really what it does, especially with this question, but I'm a YouTuber, so I know what algorithms do. So most of the time I follow a particular YouTuber. I like him. I like his content. Maybe I subscribed and I click the notification bell, and I'm always watching him. Even if I didn't subscribe to his page, if you keep watching somebody, the next thing the algorithm is will start pushing that data to you. So that's how it's programmed by YouTubers or the YouTube controllers. So for this question, they will program it to, okay, if a particular data comes this way or is posted, please do this particular, this is the command you should do. You should use to credit or debit and all that. So that's what the algorithm is all about. Okay, thank you for asking that question. Good questions. Good question. So I was speaking to the B part around the importance of reviewing algorithms in business audits and identifying concerns with TechLife's pricing model. So the prices were already automated and the algorithms were to review and ensure that there were no errors in all what the algorithm does around sales and the pricing logic. So machines are not humans. Are not humans. So don't forget, machines could also have giggle. If there's garbage in, there's garbage out. But if it's also good, the machine will provide good analysis and good giggle for you. Okay, so for the B part, I was speaking to what to write, and I said algorithms are like the pricing algorithms like the pricing model are essentially automated application controls. So their review is important to ensure accuracy, consistency, and compliance. So, for example, the proper pricing model or the proper pricing system and revenue recognition. So the concern is the lack of documentation, which means the auditor cannot verify the accuracy and the completeness of the revenue figure since the algorithm does it. So how do you write that? You need to explain that the algorithm is a control over the valuation or the accuracy assertion for revenue. Then also the concern of lack of audit trail is what you should explain, and lack of control of monitoring. Also the risk of manipulation or error could suffice under this. So your answers should speak to some of these points around what the auditor could face and what could be recommended for a solution to that problem. So the examiner gave us a solution here. So please go through and align properly. Then for the C part, talking about the robotic process automation effect. Okay, the effect on audit procedures or issues with TechLife's usage. We need to discuss. That's the prompt, discuss. Okay, so what do we write around this. The robotic process automation in writing affects the audit by shifting control risk from human error to the algorithm or the bot or the system error. So it may improve efficiency actually because machines are to some extent accurate, except if the prompt or the commands were wrong given to those machines. So it will actually improve efficiency, but increases reliance on automated controls. So the key issues with TechLife's usage are poor change management, speaking to no change logs, and poor monitoring or exception handling, no exception reporting or incidents reporting. So that's what you should write around the issues, audit issues that could be flagged. And how do you write that? You need to briefly explain the change in risk profile, the change from human input now to automated algorithm and bots and all those automated robotic process automation. So the focus around the issues on the lack of the three key IT general controls needed for robotic process automation around change controls, access controls, and monitoring and logging controls. So those are the areas you should share thoughts on for that 4-mark question. And for the D part, we're asked what audit procedures should be carried out to assess TechLife's compliance with NDPR. NDPR. Okay. So for the 4th question, what do you write? You need to write around compliance procedures, which are a mix of inquiry, inspection, and observation. So for you to validate compliance for the company, it's a mix of the auditor inquiring, inspecting, and also observing. The procedures should target the existence of the required NDPR policy, the evidence of data collection consent, and the controls over data access and storage. So that's what you should write. The NDPR policy is required, data collection consent, and also data access and storage. So how do you write that? Provide specific and verifiable steps around inspecting the documented policy. The next one is inquiring about staff training on the policy and implementation or operationalization of those policies, and also verify the IT access controls on customer database. So that's generally what to write around this kind of question. Okay, so in ending your marks, don't forget IT terminologies. You can't just write generic answers now. Try to use IT terminologies like IT general controls, application controls, confidentiality, integrity, accountability triad, the CIA acronym we used earlier, change management, and NDPR. Those terminologies will show you demonstrate advanced knowledge of such questions or the concept. So you need to also link IT to financials. Always connect the IT issues back to the risk of material misstatement in the financial statements. For example, poor algorithm, misstatement of revenue. So link IT to financials and the risk they will culminating. Also provide solutions for every deficiency identified. The response, your response should include a realistic corrective audit procedure or recommendation. So try to provide solutions to some of these issues. And for the marking key now, we have 15 marks total. So for the first 5-mark question, which is part A, you need to ensure the rule addresses the confidentiality, integrity, and accountability triad. Talking about integrity of data. So the response must cover assessing the financial impact of the breach, also testing controls to identify the weakness, and also recommending stronger access or encryption controls to mitigate the issue. And for the B part, you need to explain the importance of linking the valuation and accuracy assertion for revenue. And the concern should focus on lack of verifiability of the logic and the inconsistency noted during promotions, which would affect revenue, definitely. So you need to speak to the valuation and accuracy assertion for revenue very practically to earn the 3 marks. And for the part C, which is 4 marks, the effect on the audit is the change in risk focus. So the issues with TechLife are the lack of change controls. Change controls around control over authorization or unauthorized modification and inadequate exception reporting or incidence reporting, which are control over process or processing errors. And for the part B, which is 3 marks, the procedures must be specific to data privacy regulations around inquiring and inspecting the data protection policy and also verifying the process of customer consent and testing the access controls on stored personal data. Right? Quite a complex question anyway, but then I think it's inevitable because IT must be tested. So just expect questions around IT. It must be tested in one question because that's a contemporary issue. Okay, so for the concepts and principles tested and how do you study around this? Number one is IT general controls. Several topics was taken some part of this question. IT general controls was tested in part A of the question and C. So these are the foundation controls over the IT environment, covering around security, change management, data center operations, and all that. And number two is application controls, tested in part B. These are the programmed controls with applications, with the pricing algorithm being a key example we saw this. So auditors must test the logic and consistency of the application. So application controls are important. I think chapter 7, we looked at some of those things. Chapter 8, we'll still come to it in chapter 15 and 16. And for audit of automation, RPA, the principle is that the bot must be treated as an employee because it does what human does. And the controls over the bot must cover around supervision, access, and documentation to check change logs, exception reports, incidents reports. So the audit of automation or the robotic process automation must be enhanced. It's the principle that was tested. Then also laws and regulations around ISA 250, which was tested in part D. Non-compliance with regulations like NDPR can lead to material fines. NDPR is now very prevalent in Nigeria, is getting louder by the day. Just like we have GDPR, the Global Data Protection Regulation. NDPR was cropped from that GDPR model. And non-compliance to this model can lead to material fines and reputational damage that must be disclosed or may affect the entity's ability to continue as a going concern. So in studying and revision, you need to focus on the differences between IT general controls and IT application controls and the specific risks associated with emerging technologies like robotic process automations, artificial intelligence, and algorithms generally. We'll still come to that topic anyway, but that chapter, we'll just take it in one class. Most of the remaining chapters only reporting. The other chapters will cover in one classes. They are not much. We have 6 chapters left, so we need to cover that within this week and next week so that we can stop lectures. Okay, so what topics or modules or chapters in the current AAAF study text was tested? Question 6 now was tested from number 1, current issues, which is chapter 15, looking at developments in emerging technologies. Chapter 16 also primarily was tested, application of information technology, specifically the impact of IT on audit environment. National Information Technology Development Agency, NITDA, which is the body that covers NDPR. So chapter 16 is principally or explicitly tested. Then some parts of chapter 2, talking about laws and regulations on audit and assurance engagement, which is consideration of laws and regulations in the audit of financial statements based on ISA 250, and this is related directly to NDPR. So those were the 3 chapters tested, chapter 15, chapter 16, and chapter 2. So please take note when revising for your exams. All right. So any questions?
Yes, sir.
Sorry, somebody's speaking. Yes, please. Go ahead. Yes, please.
Yeah, so actually this question, I've just been looking at it and hoping that whenever it comes out in exam, I won't even go near there, except if I don't have option. I can try my best. So you were talking about this question talked about IT general control. But in the pack, the IT general control we have the general control talks about development of computer-based information system, documentation and testing of program changes, prevention or the detection of unauthorized change and prevention, all those 5 or 6 general controls that were in the pack. But in the answer you just gave us now, I'm not seeing all these things inside. What happened?
Good question. So you will see that those IT general controls, application controls you called, are mostly in chapter 7 and chapter 8. Sorry, chapter 6, chapter 7. Audit approach, chapter 7, planning. So that's not actually very, very rich around this question. So if you want to understand more of the answers in this question, go to chapter 15, then chapter 16. You see some of these nitty-gritties there. So I'll suggest that maybe before we get to that lecture class, please read chapter 15 and 16. You understand how these answers were cropped practically. You will see that most of the answers and the solution aligns with more of chapter 15 and 16 in the study text.
So in exam, how do we know which one they really meant? Because IT general control is supposed to be the same thing anywhere it came or whether any chapter.
Yeah, so
yeah.
I understand your challenge. So in the exam now, you know that robotic process automation came or it's tested directly from chapter 15 and 16, not chapter 7, chapter 8. Those chapter 7 and chapter 8 are just like introduction. But then don't worry, we'll still come back to this question when we get to chapter 15 and 16 so that we can speak practically to the concepts and try to align it with how to answer such a question. Even the NDPR principles, we'll all see them in that chapter 15 and 16. So don't worry. It's going to be crystal clear when we get to that bridge. We'll cross it.
So you were mentioning these chapters that were covered in these questions. Can you recap?
Okay. So I said chapter 15.
Chapter 15
was tested. Yes, chapter 15 was tested. Then chapter 16. Chapter 15 is current issues, developments in emerging technologies. Then chapter 16, application of information technology, specifically on the impact of IT on the audit environment, NITDA and NDPR. And some parts of chapter 2, though not implicitly tested, but just that knuckler part of ISA 250 was tested.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So Grace, don't worry. Don't be perplexed. You will get more understanding on this question when we get to those chapters. And I'll remind you on this question and how you were concerned about it. All right. So you're welcome. All right. So let's go to the last question before we get to bed.